Welcome to another episode of the Platform Podcast. We always say it's been a while between drinks, don't we? But this actually has been a while of us doing a podcast. So much has gone on. And I think if you're watching this at home or at work or whatever, wherever you are, you can probably see we're looking very exhausted right now.
We're shattered.
Will's got his fourth cup of coffee sitting down next to him right
midday.
now. But yeah, it's been hectic to be quite frank. I mean, November kicked us in the butt, I think, a little bit with all the contracts that were signed and new athletes coming on board, the new partnership with ASM,
all the big events we've got coming up. It just feels there's not enough hours in the day, but
yeah, and there's been curveballs thrown at us left, right, and centre. I mean, I guess the big one that we need to discuss is we've got the soccer tournament tomorrow. I mean, at the moment it is the 5th of December, it's a Tuesday here in Auckland, and on the 7th of December we start day one of the Under-17 Youth Soccer Championship held at Western Springs. And
huge.
Big, man. I think it's over 48 teams, and they're expecting 700 athletes to be present there, which is cool. But we've had a message from the head office at ASM West Palm Beach, Florida, that Ryan Arvin can't make it. He's had a loss in his family, and our thoughts go out to you, Ryan.
Much love.
Yeah, man, it's never nice going through something like that. And I mean, I know all of our athletes will understand, but we do have a replacement for Ryan. We've got Mark Holt, who is a local from Auckland, but he not only played in America, he coached at a Division 1 college as well. So I've got Mark to come out on the 7th and the 8th to be present at the Western Springs tournament.
Giving that knowledge to everyone.
100%,
very,
bro.
very important knowledge.
100%. Can we also shout out this awesome jumper that I'm wearing?
I'm still waiting for mine.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if it will come, bro. Only the good-looking roosters get it, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
But I've got to shout out Coach Sefa from University of Pacific, Division 1 college in Stockton, California, which is about 45 minutes away from San Francisco. He came to the office last week, gave me a hoodie. He's helping us out a little bit with that USA College water polo event this month, and he's coming to recruit a lot of athletes, which has been an absolutely incredible opportunity for a lot of student athletes
and a lot of coaches to actually, it's not just for the athletes. These coaches are going to get to come out and see what kind of this side of the world has to offer, because we're so hidden, we're so little, we're so small.
It's a long way. I mean, it's over 11 hours by plane for San Francisco. I was looking at it the other day because I booked a flight for Derek from University of Pacific, and I think it was 13 and a half hours.
And these coaches are going to love it too, coming out to New Zealand. This is the best time of the year to be in New Zealand, summertime. So no, we're super excited, and we're going to get to meet a lot of these guys in person. We try and send them a lot of emails and try and send them a lot of messages, but it's going to be nice to actually, sit down with them and pick their brains about what they're looking for.
We're making some noise here, brother.
Yeah.
We're making some noise here. I mean, I've had it, bro, with all these agencies not doing anything like this, Athlete first always, and now for a few $100, athletes are not only going to train, but they're going to compete in front of college coaches. They get to connect with college coaches, but here's one even better. They get access to some pretty cool people. We've got a nutritionist that's worked with the Olympic Committee and High Performance New Zealand. She's coming in to present to athletes. There's so much value that student athletes are going to get, man.
These athletes are going to come out with a whole new kind of perspective on their futures. Even, we're kind of shaping how they're going to look at the next, 5-10 years of their life. And that's super exciting because that's what we do, That's what we do.
Well, Will.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, we did a poll on Instagram about doing kickboxing, and, everyone said, yes, we should go do kickboxing. And Stefan probably put a promo here for you watching it, but we've filmed some content there. How about this one, mate? Why don't we do a penalty shootout for water polo, me and you, during the event?
Get in the Speedos? I'll get my Speedo. Fun fact, Will in year 9 and 10 actually played water polo?
Oh, really?
I did.
Why did I say that?
I did.
And for anyone that doubts that Indians can't swim, I bet you I'm the best swimmer you ever see. Been brought up in the mighty Nacky, mate. Spent a bit of time in the ocean.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, that kickboxing was fun. Let's do, and I mean, we can even do some soccer related stuff at the under 17s.
penalty shootout.
We got a lot to do. A lot of content to share.
That's what I love about this job, man. Like we get out and active. Like we're not the guys that just sit behind the laptops. Like we actually go to the events. We drive 5 hours to Napier, or 5.5 hours to Napier to be there. That's why we do what we do. We just love sport so much. So
yeah, and we love helping athletes. And that's the topic of today's podcast, right?
It is.
What is it like,
this, man?
The life of an athlete? You've obviously got your brother who's a professional athlete. Me, I'd like to think I'm an athlete. Don't have the profile, but we've seen enough. We've talked to enough people that we can kind of understand, what it takes and what happens to you as an athlete.
I think the reason why this topic the reason why I want to discuss it on this podcast today was because a lot of our athletes have been doing very well. We've had Zach Swanwick competing in the Australian Open recently. In the first round, he was inside the top 20. He was the best amateur out of the whole event, right?
Shot a 67.
Yeah, that's just nuts. And then we've got Kiana Stevenson, who's beating some of the world top beach volleyball athletes. She's over in Australia right now. She even beat the number one pick for USC, coming in, which is incredible. So
and some former college athletes that are now on the pros.
Yeah, I mean, we've even got Jack Loutet that's obviously already playing professional tennis events, and he's at Kentucky because you're allowed to earn prize money as a tennis player. Hannah Blake, obviously doing very well in the A-League. Aniela Jensen's currently with the New Zealand Ferns in the women's side. We've got athletes that are just doing extremely well, and we're going to continue to have athletes that will get that. Like Melissa Cohen will definitely be representing New Zealand on a big stage for swimming.
Yeah.
She's currently with the Gators at the moment at University of Florida. So
yeah, what are the biggest benefits of being a professional athlete?
Well, look,
there are a ton of benefits.
A lot of benefits is that you get to make money playing sport.
Yeah.
That's what being a pro athlete's about.
I think everyone growing up, I wanted to be an All Black.
Yeah, man. You get to travel the world. You get the status. You get to compete in front of amazing and epic crowds. And you get a paycheck at the end of your performances if you do well. And you can use that to give it back to your parents, to finance your tour, to go forward, etc., which is awesome. And a lot of people sit in the crowds when they're young teenagers looking and watching at these soccer athletes or tennis athletes or golf athletes being like, I want to be the next X, And so being a pro athlete is an incredible thing. It's a massive honor because not many people get to be a professional athlete. And if you call yourself a professional athlete, you are at the pinnacle of your sport, regardless of where you sit.
Yeah, one of the best. You have to be one of the best. If you can financially support yourself playing sport, that's we're lucky because we get to, do what we love for work. That's what these athletes get to do as well,
Completely agree, man. I mean, sitting there talking to your mate saying, yeah, I'm a pro athlete, that means something. And that means that you've worked extremely hard. You've taken a lot of sacrifices. You've faced a lot of challenges. You've faced adversity. You've pushed through it and you've come out the other side. And you get to travel the world, man. You get to live out of a suitcase. And for some people like me, that's not very appealing. After traveling so much this year, bro, I do not want to see another airport for a very long time, even though I'm going to Australia in 3 weeks. But for some people, that's what they train
your brother.
for.
I never know where your brother is in the world.
Neither. Neither. A G honestly just calls me randomly. He's like, yeah, I'm here now. I'm like, okay, sweet. Sometimes my mum will check in and be like, hey, can you pick your brother up from the airport at 1 a.m? I'm like, where's he flying in from? So yeah, I mean, it's great, and there's a lot of ups to it, but what I really want to hit on are the challenges that people are about to go through, whether it's going through the journey of becoming a professional athlete and once they get to become that professional athlete. Let's talk about through the journey first, and then we'll revisit at the end, they've made it on the pro tour or whatever professional scene they're on, and what kind of challenges they'll face then right at the end. But for now, what do you think are some of the challenges athletes are going to have to face if they want to be a pro athlete?
Well, funnily enough, I was actually talking to a bloke last Friday or the Friday before, and he was telling me a story about one of his best mates who was a tennis player, and you can probably relate to this, seeing as your brother's in that grind as well. But that's some of the hardest stuff you can do, just sleeping out of airports, trying to get to each tournament. It's not a luxurious lifestyle, I guess you could say, on that initial grind to becoming a professional athlete. And that's for any sport. I mean, I even look at rugby players. You know, you fly to the UK, you get your accommodation paid for. You still have to work another job to, you know, be able to live. And you're still playing full-time rugby, and it's, you know, it's a grind. It's just an absolute grind. So you've got to be really cut out for it mentally. I don't think I would be mentally cut out for it. You know, I love my mum. You know, you don't get to see your mum. You know, all of that kind of stuff. What do you reckon?
I think that one of the biggest challenges of becoming a pro athlete, like you said, is the ability to stay focused when things are not going well. It's going to be very uncomfortable. If people think they're going to walk into this incredible sports academy and walk out a professional, they're absolutely dreaming. The things that go on behind the scenes and the effort that goes on behind the scenes is what an athlete's lifestyle is. So what people don't see, like, yeah, sure, my brother's good in New Zealand. He's number one in New Zealand, but he's 400 in the world. Like, there's 400 guys ahead of him. And he told me and my dad and my mum, like, point blank, and my sister, like, I want to be one of the best tennis players in the world. And people see him at the ASB Classic playing. They see him, you know, driving around Mercedes-Benz with his North Shore Mercedes-Benz deals, wearing Lululemon stuff, like getting to hang around with some of the All Blacks. But what they don't see is the grind that he's going through. I mean, just before we started filming this podcast, I was on a Google Meet call with Sefa, that water polo coach that gave me this jumper, and Ajit goes on FaceTime and he goes, "Hey man, look what I've got. I'm about to go in for a 5K run with this." And he's wearing a 20 kilo like weighted vest. He's about to go for a run.
I couldn't think of anything worse.
You know, sometimes when we're back in New Plymouth, bro, like especially around Christmas, we go home, we go out to the bar, we have some dinner, we have some food, some drinks, a bit of a boogie on the dance floor, etc. Ajit will sober drive. When we come back home, it'll be like 1 a.m, and then he'll put his running shoes on and go. Sometimes he's at the gym doing 2 sessions. I've seen him. I was driving to have coffee with my mum. I saw him running along the road to run to the gym to work out and then run back home. So there's a lot of that sort of stuff that goes on. And obviously you've got your coaching. So you've got your one-on-ones with your coach, and the amount of hours he spent on court with my dad, where he hated being there, but he had to be there. I mean, I don't think you remember on the last podcast, he said he hates doing technique work. Well, that's what happened when we were kids. And
it's all technique work.
all the time. Like, his mates are out celebrating with their friends, drinking, or like back in the day when in the younger teenage years, going to parties, they're going away to family batches in the weekend. Ajit's on a court with my dad on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, back to school Monday. So it's not easy, and if you can push through that and you're willing to push through that, then you're going to get a really good look at that professional lifestyle. And I think, like, you know, guys like Zach Swanwick, for example, it's Labour weekend in Napier, not this one that's just been last year. I'm with Dylan Wood, our former employee. We walk into the golf course and there's Zach out there like practicing by himself on the weekend. It's Labour weekend. Everyone's out of Napier. Everyone is out having a good time with their friends. And here is Zach with a bucket of balls hitting them. And people like, Zach's doing so well. Yes, because of the work he's putting in. So if you're willing to do that and you're willing to go the extra mile and you can really dig deep, I think you're going to have a really good look at that professional goal that you always wanted.
You know what else? I was just thinking while you were talking, and another aspect of this grind and this kind of like process that we're talking about into becoming a professional athlete is that building of your brand. You know, like that's tough. Like not everyone can build their brand. It's really hard to maintain, you know, that image, you know, that kind of perfect, you know, Dan Carter, you know, he's everyone's idol. You know, he's got a community around him that idolize him, a bunch of young kids. I'm sure your brother's experienced this as he's grown his brand, you know, all these young tennis players being like, oh, I want to be like Ajit one day, you know, and it must be quite tough for him because, you know, if we were to post a photo of us having a beer, you know, out at dinner or something, there's no real implications for that compared to, say, someone with 10,000 followers on Instagram and a bunch of young kids, you know, then they're going to think, oh, you know, is that really who I want to be?
Yeah, I think like if you want to be a pro athlete, you've got to understand one word, and it's called stakeholders.
Yeah.
So if you understand like what you need to do to keep your stakeholders happy, and for those that don't know who stakeholders are, sponsors that support you and other people that support you.
People that are invested in you.
Exactly, right? It could be financially, it doesn't have to be financially.
Emotionally.
Exactly, bro. And if you understand the responsibility you have to make sure they are happy, and you're promoting them in a really positive way through your social media channels. So, for example, if you are signed with Mercedes-Benz North Shore like Adidas, and you're posting some cool photos off the cars that they're giving you, that's great. But if you're posting videos of you driving around while you're in the car, that's not the best thing. Or if you've got like a person in the passenger seat and they're holding a beer in their hand, and it might be at a Christmas function, maybe you're sober driving, but there's a beer in that photo, like, your stakeholders are not going to be happy.
So easy to slip up.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to be careful, and you can use social media to your advantage.
We always talk about this.
Yeah, man. I love this chat, man. Yeah. And you can use social media to your advantage, where you set yourself up for success. You create an environment where sponsors want to be involved with your brand. They see the engagement that you're getting. They see the respect that you have in the community, the people that are commenting all the positive things about you.
With positive press. Exactly.
And I think like it's really important for young people to know about it, because there's good press and then there's also very bad press.
And you also think about, like, I always see it on Twitter, you know, or what's called X now. Yeah. You know, professional athletes like NFL players or NBA players, where they go all the way back to like 2012 and see he might have said something about something that is, you know, nowadays seen as politically incorrect.
Yeah, man.
And like, you just get cancelled for it.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, there's been an instance where I spoke to Coach Jerry, who's the assistant at Akron University, the men's soccer coach, and I think I've said the story before, but for those that haven't, he was recruiting an athlete for his Division 1 men's soccer program. Their stadium sells out about 7,000 seats, so really epic college. And they had an offer out to this guy, and they saw an old tweet that was made years ago.
Yeah, years.
Years ago. But because it didn't line up with their values, they pulled the offer.
Yeah. Oh, it's as simple as that. And that's why you got to be so careful about your digital footprint as a professional athlete.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more.
Because people are out to get you.
Bro, if I'm an athlete right now, you need to be thinking about how can I weaponize social media to make me a lot of money? And what good things can I post that can make me a lot of money? And if you feel like, oh my gosh, my friends are going to make fun of me for posting all these cheesy things like me working out, you've already lost. Like, that's the wrong way to think. You got to think big here and don't care what people think of you, because all you should be caring about is making money. Because when you're becoming a pro athlete, it's about turning yourself into a business. Yes, it's about competing and fulfilling your dreams as an athlete, but you need to make money.
And how are some ways that you can kind of make money as a professional athlete? Just
Sponsors,
to give them
man.
an idea.
Sponsors. Like, for example, tennis. If you've got a t-shirt, one sleeve on your left arm will be X amount of thousands of dollars a year. The other sleeve, like if you see like Nick Kyrgios or any of those other tennis players that play on the tour, they've got like Cameron Norrie, for example, has got like 2 logos on his sleeve. Yep. That's probably like 50 to 60 grand each.
Yep.
That's over an annual salary of what most New Zealanders here and Australians make a year. Then obviously you got your prize money that you're getting to, which
that's
really
more
helps
the competition aspect.
Yeah, and then
what about endorsements?
Yeah, man. Well, that's sponsors, right? Endorsement deals, etc. That's all packaged into one. But these companies need to buy into something. And look, like my brother's 400 in the world. He's not number 200 or number 1, but he's got some pretty epic sponsors that back him.
Like you just said, Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah. He's got some pretty.
I see some of the cars he's driving around.
I got to drive one yesterday. Actually, went to go pick him up in a 4-wheel drive. It was pretty nice. I was driving it and I was a bit sad giving it back to him, mate. I was like, I can't afford this. But yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of highs about being a pro athlete, but now I want to dive into the dark things that can happen.
Yeah.
And I think this is the most important thing. And this is from previous experiences that have happened recently, and I've just got absolutely fed up with it that I want to talk about it.
Go on your rant.
Okay, so I'm just going to use my brother as an example here because this is how it sort of started with me. So Ajit plays a lot of pro events and you can bet on his matches. I found out that there's a few coaches in New Zealand, tennis coaches, local tennis coaches I'm not going to name, and they don't know I know this, that bet on his matches. And his messages that he's received on Instagram, on
You've
Facebook,
shown me some of them.
Bro, it's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting where they send like death threats to my brother about trying to, do things to my family. They'll send real racist things to my brother. They'll send my auntie in Sweden some people saw that my brother was related to my auntie at a wedding we went to this year, and like DM'd my auntie there and just said like some absolutely horrible things. And the thing that really got to me was my brother and I, we lost my uncle, my sister, we lost my uncle to cancer this year. That was really hard. And then someone just messages my brother saying, I hope your family like dies from cancer. And my brother just sent me that message, bro. And to be honest, I broke down. It was really hard. I was like, this is awful. Then it got me thinking, my brother's like mid-20s, and we've got athletes now that are going through this, that are 17, 16, 18, like Kiana, like Zach Swanwick, like Melissa Cohen, like Jake Lautit. And we need to tell them what's going to be happening. We need to be telling all the athletes listening to this that want to be a pro athlete what might happen. And when you become a pro athlete, or if you become an elite athlete in college, people can bet on your matches. And you're going to get some absolute lowlifes out there that will make it their life's mission to make you feel miserable. Maybe they're jealous. Maybe they lost money. And they're going to say some really hurtful things to you. And I don't feel like this is talked enough about.
Nah. And how do they cope with it, you know? Because it's hard.
It is.
It's already so stressful.
Yeah.
You know, being like the whole lifestyle of an athlete is so stressful. You got so many things to worry about, let alone, you know, some couch potatoes ripping you out.
Yeah, you can't let it get to you. And like, I was talking to Tony Stevenson, Kiana's dad, and you know, Kiana's at the process at the back end of a college search right now for her beach volleyball scholarship. Tony and I, we talk a lot and we just go on tangents, and he's just a fantastic human being. And I said to Tony, like, because he said, you know, Kiana just beat some of the world top beach volleyball athletes, and I'm like, mate, she actually needs to start preparing herself to get DMs from random people. He goes, what do you mean? I told him about a Jeep, and he was just absolutely shocked. I'm not going to read it out, but some of the messages, I read them out to Tony, and he was absolutely shocked. And I was like, right, we need to jump in here and talk about it. So if you want to be an athlete, right, you will get scrutinized. You will get messages coming through on social media. Just expect that. That's going to happen. It's just noise. Don't let it get to you. It got to me, obviously, with this really personal thing that happened to me and my family this year. But 9 times out of 10, it won't. And you just have to expect that this is going to be normal for you, because for every one person that wants you to succeed, there's going to be 4 people out there that want you to lose,
if not more.
Yeah,
you know, and that's the worst part is that the amount of people that are so invested in gambling online. That's just another problem in itself, right?
Oh, it's crazy, bro. And you get these like YouTube influencers now promoting all these betting apps.
You know, they could bet on the Lacrosse World Cup.
Yeah, I did know that.
And there was like, some people made apparently a ton of money out of it. But, you know, that's, you know, not the point.
And then like, you're just going to get sledged if you don't perform well. And it might not even be your fault. You might even see anything, what did I do to this person? But just expect it, because being a pro athlete is amazing. Everyone wants to be the Cristiano Ronaldo. Everyone wants to be the Messi. Everyone wants to be the Richie McCaw.
Yeah, the LeBron.
Dan Carter's, you know, LeBron James.
You see how much hate LeBron gets just on a daily basis.
Just read the comments on like NBA's, like, I would say Twitter, X's, comment section. It's just crazy. So just expect that to happen. And I think this podcast is short, but I just wanted people to know that, like, if people are messaging you, if they're messaging you horrible things, it's got nothing to do with you. If you're ever sitting in a position in your life where you feel confused, it's got nothing to do with you. It's got something to do with the other person, whether they're feeling crappy in their own lives, that maybe this is the only way they can make money is by putting money on yourself. Maybe they're having a miserable day. Maybe they're extremely jealous of you. Don't let it get to you. Just as soon as you get a message, delete it right away. There's no point looking at it. And I feel like if you just stay in your own lane, just focus on your own craft, whether it's an individual sport or a team sport, you will go far. If you let your emotions take over, it can derail you. It can derail you on the process that you're on, and that's not what you want. You don't want someone to control what you do. That's the worst thing that can happen, because then you're letting other people dictate your career, your path, and you want to stay away from that completely. Yeah, I had to get it off my chest, man.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's why I was so moody this week, because I was like sitting around. Well, it's only Tuesday. But I was just sitting around and I was like just over it. And we got this family group chat. And yeah, my brother shared a couple of messages, but it wasn't even him. Like this guy, Tom Fancutt, another professional tennis player from the Gold Coast. He's at the KDV Tennis Academy. He shares stuff all the time. Like it's just absolute rubbish what people put on there.
And none of them are their real accounts.
Nah.
It's always some, burner, random account that they just use because they've got nothing better to do.
Yeah, dealing with negativity, I think, is equally as important as training as an athlete because it's like mental's so important as a professional athlete, right?
Oh,
so
it's 90% of it.
Yeah, if you can't deal with pressure, if you're worried about what people think, you've already lost. Imagine the hate that the All Blacks got.
Oh, yeah.
I saw the good comments. Did you see the bad comments?
Well, even like Wayne Barnes, the referee, we gave him a bit of flack on the podcast, but...
Nah, bro. I was saying diplomatic.
But, he was getting death threats and he's retired as a referee now, it's just, people just need to, not worry about it.
It's not ideal, but look, the world's an ugly place. Even when I started platform sports, the amount of people that made fun of me thought I was taking the mickey, I'm not going to make anything of myself, was a lot, but I didn't listen to them. I just backed myself and kept my head down, and here we are 8 years later. So don't worry about it too much, but for the young athletes that are 15, 16, 17, 18, if you are in that top 1% in your sport where people can bet on your matches, don't be surprised to get messages, and if you do get messages, just delete them right away. If you do get any really bad messages, and I mean really bad messages where you feel like your safety's at risk, screenshot, send it to your parents, and then let them deal with the police or anything like that. And I'm talking from experience here, not with my brother, but with other people. It has happened before where they're like, we know where you live. They don't. They're just random keyboard warriors in the middle of nowhere. But deal with it properly, deal with it professionally. You are a pro athlete, and take the emotion out of it.
Or talk to us.
Yeah, 100%.
We can help.
Or we'll send Stefan around their house. Hey, Stefan.
Yes. We've kept him out of this one.
5 foot. What are you? 5 foot what, Stefan? 5 foot? 5 foot 10. Oh, 5'4". 50 kilos.
All right, let's wrap this up.
All right, I'm dribbling now. All right, anyway, we've got a big week ahead. We've got the under-17 event this week, so we're going to go prepare for that.
Heaps of content on the way.
Keep working hard. Get after it. Yes, it's December. School's over, but this is when pre-season begins, so make sure you're keeping that fitness up. I love your little sign-off, bro. Until next time, see you on the Platform Podcast.